Let me welcome you to this presentation, where we will explore how local governments can promote local safety and security in an inclusive and participatory manner. We will draw on international and Dutch good practices and how we have applied these practices in the Albanian context. But let me first introduce myself and my co-presenter. My name is Lars Burema. I'm a team manager with the Hague Academy for Local Governance, a training institute focused on local governance issues. I've personally worked on local governance for over 10 years, and for the past 5 years, I've also been involved in local safety and security in Albania. In this presentation, I will focus on explaining the core concepts related to local safety and security.
Welcome to you all at this video presentation. My name is Maita van der Mark, and I will be presenting examples of how the concepts that are introduced by Lars are implemented by the 5 pilot municipalities in the local safety and security projects. I am involved in this program in my capacity as an associated expert for VNG International in the field of citizen participation and local governance. I hope that you will experience in this video that a multi-stakeholder approach combined with genuine citizen participation will lead to sustainable, effective and tangible results in the field of local safety and security.
This presentation is a part of the MATRA project on local safety and security in Albania. It was implemented by VNG International, the Hague Academy for Local Governance, and the Foundation for Local Autonomy and Governance. It was financed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands and implemented in the municipalities of Berat, Terik, Devol, Mat, and Roskobets. Let me briefly outline the exact topics we will cover in this presentation. First, we will clarify what we talk about when referring to local safety and security. We will discuss different categories of safety and security issues and explain the difference between objective and subjective safety. Secondly, we will describe the different ways in which citizens can be involved in local safety and security and why this is beneficial. Thirdly, we will define the different roles local governments can play in promoting safety and security. Fourthly, we will explain how we applied the principles discussed in this presentation in the approach we applied in Albania. Finally, we will share the lessons we learned through our experiences in Albania. This presentation is a summary of the guidebook we have developed on local safety and security in Albania, which describes in detail all the issues we touch upon in this presentation. It provides an overview of international good practices in relation to safety and security, shares our experiences and lessons learned in Albania, and also provides some recommendations to policymakers in Albania. Now let's look at local safety and security in a little bit more detail. We will break down local issues of safety and security into 5 categories based on the work of the Dutch Association of Municipalities. The first category that I would like to discuss concerns a safe living environment. Here we're talking about safety and the quality of life in the everyday living environment. Think about your house, the street, and the neighborhood you live in. We're talking about issues such as domestic violence, vandalism, burglaries, or conflict between neighbors. The second category that I would like to discuss is business and safety. This concerns safety and security issues linked to business activities. You can think of markets, shopping malls, or tourist sites. The third category that I would like to explore with you is youth and safety. This concerns issues around safety and security linked to young people. Youth are an important stakeholder in safety and security throughout the world, and certainly in Albania as well. When talking about youth and safety, you can think of issues such as safety and security around schools, but also alcohol and drug abuse of young people. The fourth category that I would like to explore with you is physical safety. This concerns issues such as traffic safety, fire safety, but also the management of crises such as floods. The fifth and final category that I would like to explore with you concerns integrity and safety. Here we are talking about fundamental phenomena that threaten our rule of law and security. Think about radicalization, organized crime, cybersecurity, and corruption.
International and also the first Albanian practices have shown that these 5 different themes are nearly always interrelated. Let me give you 3 examples. The first comes from municipality mud. No public lampposts and a poorly maintained pavement in a certain neighborhood led to an unsafe situation for pedestrians and drivers. This clearly relates to a safe living environment, but also restricted the free movement of children during the darker months of the year, which can have an effect on their physical and mental health, restricting them to participate in society. Here, the theme, safe living environment, is interrelated with youth and safety. Another example, the lack of an economical perspective and of youth-targeted activities may make young people more susceptible to drug abuse, or to look for gambling as a way of earning money, thus making them more vulnerable to become involved in organized crime. In this example, the themes, youth and safety, are combined with integrity and safety. This was one of the priorities in pilot municipality De Vol. A last example comes from the Municipal Action Group in Berat. They chose to improve the safety of a highway crossing in front of a high school for the pupils and their parents. It started out as a project clearly related to physical safety. But along the way, the Municipal Action Group realized that they were also targeting safe living environment, when they saw that the elderly in the surrounding neighborhoods started to use the new safe passage to go to a nearby park or for shopping. The Municipal Action Group formulated as a next step to engage specifically the business owners along the street to work together for a safer traffic environment, thus also including the theme business and safety. These Albanian cases show us how a multi-stakeholder approach can come up with a more integral solution for several safety and security issues at the same time.
Now that we have broken down safety and security into 5 categories, it's important to break it down even further into objective and subjective safety and security. Objective safety and security refers to factual occurrences of crime, for example, the number of car thefts or the number of cases of speeding. Subjective safety and security refers to the experience of safety and security. For example, how safe do you feel when walking down the street? Both these types of safety and security are important to take into consideration when designing policy on local safety and security.
Let me clarify this with an example from the 5 Albanian pilot projects. In the case of Berat, the number of traffic accidents may go down at this specific stretch of the high road near the high school. This sort of data can be measured objectively through police statistics. The subjective feelings of improved security, however, may lead to other kinds of data. For example, on the level of trust in the local government as a result of the participatory process, or the improvement of well-being by having a less stressful daily crossing of the street. This kind of subjective data may be monitored by surveys using rating scores or in-depth interviews with individual citizens. The municipal group of Roskowitz, for example, conducted a survey before and after the participatory realization of a new public playground. The conducted surveys give the local government the possibility to monitor the appraisal, objectively and subjectively, by the community. These outcomes can be shared, for example, with the municipal police. They can be combined with objective data of the municipal police within that community. A next step is to feed back the outcomes of a joint analysis into a local safety and security policy and its annual program. This is an important document for which local government has an important role to play.
Now let's look at the different ways local governments can involve citizens in addressing issues around safety and security. First, local governments have an important role to play in informing citizens on issues around safety and security. For example, awareness campaigns on the dangers of drinking and driving. Secondly, local governments need to consult their citizens to find out what their priorities and needs are. Think of public hearings or citizen surveys. Thirdly, local governments can involve citizens in the design of policy and projects. For example, by involving civil society representatives in government committees on these topics. Finally, local governments can encourage citizens to play an active role in promoting safety and security. We know of examples where community members are playing a role in maintaining playgrounds, or where community members mediate in conflicts between neighbors.
Again, let me give you some examples. The Municipal Action Group in Mat decided to upgrade the public space near a social housing project, improving a safe living environment for the Egypt and Roma community living there. The improvement dealt with the installation of lampposts, but also with the placing of benches for recreation. At the same time, they had to take into account the parking space needed for adjacent private house owners. For this, the group started a consulting and co-decision-making process with the private house owners, the municipal police, and representatives from the social housing project on how to share the public space for the benefit of the whole. This process is still underway as we speak. Another example from Roskowitz, where the Municipal Action Group realized a public playground on a former abandoned plot of land. The group in Roskowitz proposed several options for playing equipment to the children and their parents. Through co-decision making, their input was gathered and a choice was made. This gave a big boost to the mutual trust between local government and the mostly Roma community within this neighborhood. The final example comes from Tariq. There, the Municipal Action Group involved the local youth from the very start in the initiative to open a public gymnastic area. Local youth participated in the design of the area in the following phase of choosing equipment and co-designed sporting activities together with local government and other stakeholders. Genuine citizen participation targeting real needs often leads to unexpected bonuses, where 1 + 1 makes 3. In Roskowitz, for example, the local action group realized that the playground gave children from the Roma community the opportunity to interact with children from other communities. Residents started to volunteer freely to help with the maintenance of the public playground in cooperation with the municipal police and the local government. All this contributes to the goal of fostering an interconnected and resilient community. In Tariq, the participatory process attracted a sports trainer to volunteer with sporting activities. And the Youth Council developed an initiative how to prevent vandalism at the new gym zone by involving and informing other young people. Finally, in Berat, as a result of their targeted project, the municipal police was less needed at the highway crossing during school hours, thus giving them more resources to address other safety and security priorities in the city. I also want to dwell a bit on another important element in your citizen participation approach, namely your community communication strategy to involve citizens in your activities. The principal elements are a targeted key message for a targeted key audience that stimulates to participate and to spread the key message. The teams in De Vol and Sedik developed an informational leaflet specifically designed to attract young people to their participatory meetings. In Sedik, members of the Youth Council helped to distribute the leaflets. The team noticed that they did not see any of these leaflets lying afterwards in the streets. This was a sign for them that the target group found the leaflets attractive and informational. The Roskowitz team transformed an abandoned plot of land with a negative effect on safety and security into a public playground. For the festive opening, they made a display with pictures before and after the transformation. A simple but effective way to visualize the success of the efforts of all parties involved.
Now let's look at the role that local governments can play in promoting local safety and security. The first way in which local governments can impact local safety and security is through enforcement. Of course, there's a large responsibility for enforcement with other institutions such as police and judiciary. However, local governments still have an important role to play. For example, through local enforcement by, for example, municipal police, but also by conducting advocacy to these other institutions to ensure that local priorities are taken into consideration. Finally, local governments have an important part to play in coordinating all the actions of the different stakeholders involved in the field of local safety and security. The second way through which local governments can influence local safety and security is through regulation. And here I'm thinking of local rules and regulations, but also more broadly of policies and actions. You can think here of liquor licenses and permits for large events. Another very important way in which local governments can positively influence local safety and security is through engagement. Here we're talking about communicating with and involving local communities, for example, through information campaigns or by organizing public meetings to gather the needs of the local community. Ultimately, by working on enforcement, regulation, and engagement, local governments need to contribute to building strong and resilient communities. These are communities where there exists a high trust between residents, as well as high trust between citizens and the government. Such resilient communities will have a low vulnerability to safety and security risks. Local governments are ideally placed to coordinate the strategic planning process around local safety and security. As has become clear through this presentation, safety and security issues are caused by complex, multifaceted social issues. Addressing these issues requires a thorough problem analysis, including the collection of relevant and reliable data, and the design and implementation of integrated, evidence-based solutions. A key role of local governments is to facilitate such a strategic planning process and to coordinate the formation of multi-sectoral partnerships of relevant government departments and institutions around such a process.
Local government is often the first level where citizens engage with the government. It is where they can build relations based on trust and cooperation, and can solve problems that matter in the daily lives of our citizens. It is important to realize that in dynamic and diverse societies, the local government is the actor that can bring together different interests from different groups and transform them into solutions for the public good. This is not an easy process, but it is worthwhile. I speak from my own experience as a deputy mayor in the Netherlands. One of the tools with which you can serve the public interest in a participatory way is the formulation of a local safety and security policy. This is a living document to be discussed with local leadership, town council, municipal police and other stakeholders, and which reflects the priorities you make in your municipality for the coming years, and on which local government can develop an annual activity program in a transparent and accountable manner.
Now let's look at how we applied the principles discussed in this presentation to the Albanian context. We applied these principles through a strategic planning process on safety and security, consisting out of a number of steps, which I will outline right now. The first step was gaining leadership commitment that local safety security is a priority and that the local government is willing to dedicate resources to addressing these issues in a participatory manner. Secondly, through looking at data and talking to the community, the local government analyzed its local safety and security problems, after which they developed their priorities together with the community and other institutional actors such as the police. Based on these priorities, interventions were designed also jointly with other institutional actors and the communities. The development of these concrete interventions were of course followed by implementation and evaluation. The approach I just described was characterized by these two principles: interinstitutional cooperation and an inclusive and participatory approach. These principles were made concrete through the establishment of local action groups. This means that from the beginning of our intervention, we established working groups with membership from the local government, including focal points on local safety and security, membership from the local community, and membership from the local police. These local action groups were involved and were at the center of each of the steps I described in the previous slide, thus making sure that the principles of interinstitutional cooperation and inclusion and participation were applied in every phase of the project.
I would like to mention at this point that building interinstitutional cooperation and incorporating a tangible, inclusive and participatory approach in your daily operations as a local government is a long-term effort. I like to call it, as a local and regional politician, slow politics. It can take up to 1 or maybe 2 complete political terms of investment into your own organization and your society before you can see bigger and sustainable results. But the effort is worthwhile, as some of your colleagues at Roskowitz, Zerik, Matt, De Wol and Barat may tell you. Because it is a matter of slow politics, you also need an integrated vision on society and the local government organization. For that, the commitment of the political leadership is of vital essence. Mayor and town council should embrace together the ambition in order to make it a success. In the Netherlands, as our society changed at the end of the last century, and citizens wanted to have a bigger role in local decision-making, we, as politicians and policymakers, had to come up with a new approach to address this need. Since then, we have been in a continuous process of deliberation and development of new tools and methods. We keep learning. And this process, I would say, is likely to continue, as our communities and their needs are very diverse, and life always offers us new challenges, as for example with the actual COVID-19 crisis.
Through our work, we learned a number of lessons, which I will now share with you. First, it proved to be a key to success to have a single focal point on safety and security. When we started our project, in none of the municipalities we worked with, there was a single focal point for safety and security. The responsibilities were divided throughout the different departments of the local government. This made it incredibly difficult to have a coordinated approach to local safety and security. So if you want to tackle local safety and security in an integrated manner, having a single focal point for coordination is key. The second lesson that we learned is that you start with a small, tangible, and relevant initiative. The integrated approach to local safety and security that we have been discussing in this presentation involves many stakeholders, and successful cooperation between these stakeholders is highly dependent on trust. To gain this trust, it helps to focus on actions with low risk of failure that will produce visible results in a short period of time. Through our interventions, we found that youth is an important target group in addressing issues around safety and security. Youth is often involved in producing feelings of insecurity due to issues such as unemployment, feelings of exclusion, but also drug and alcohol abuse. At the same time, youth is one of the groups most ready to engage with new interventions and provide input and support if approached in the right way. One last thing to mention about engaging youth is that it is equally important to engage with parents. Through our pilot projects, we really saw that the engagement of youth and parents was key to success. At the core of achieving success in addressing issues relating to safety and security is the establishment of a strong cooperation between the local government, civil society, and the community. And the establishment of such a strong relationship is really dependent on the readiness of the local government to see civil society as an equal partner in identifying and addressing safety and security. We saw that for all our pilot projects, establishing this relationship took time and effort, but the local governments truly committed to this process really reaped the rewards in the end. In all involved local governments, it was difficult to design evidence-based interventions due to poor data management. Relevant data was scattered around different departments and institutions and difficult to put together and analyze. Without good data on safety and security, it is extremely hard to conduct a thorough problem analysis, set relevant priorities, and measure the impact of policy. Therefore, it is extremely important to collect, organize, and analyze data on local safety and security, both hard data, for example, the number of traffic accidents, as well as data on perceptions, such as the feeling of safety.
Albania is in the process of decentralization of tasks from the national level to the level of local government, as are many other European countries, including the Netherlands. Throughout Europe, societies have changed, and there are more changes yet to come. Each day we, local and regional governments, go out to address challenges in everyday life of our citizens, and we do our best to make life better for our communities. I hope that with my part in this presentation, I have been able to inspire you to consider a local safety security policy combined with citizen participation and a multi-stakeholder approach as a valuable means to achieve that goal. And let me end with these words. With taking steps in that direction and building and sharing your Albanian practices with other countries, you are participating in an international dialogue of local governments and thus contributing to a better world for us all. I'm looking forward for your contributions. I thank you very much for your attention and I wish you every success.
This brings me to the end of this presentation. I hope we were able to provide some insights into the role local governments can play in addressing issues around safety and security, and how we applied our approach in Albania. If you are curious and would like to know more about this topic, please feel free to contact the manager of this project, Arlind Luigi, who can provide you with further information and direct you to some of the experts involved. Thank you very much.